Continuing along with our main gear train here. We can do all this before we get the alarm parts put together. I think, I hope. We're going to wing it. Let's find out. So here we have our second-hand pinion. And I'm going to put a little, let's see, what do I want on there? I'm thinking something a little lighter. Let's do 90-10. Let's put a smear of 90-10 on that shaft. I'm out of the shot. I'm just putting a smear of 90-10 on it. And we're going to drop that in place. Before we do that, let's put this in. It's going to sit like that. And everything's going to be captured by that top bridge. Okay, we're in the jewel. Make sure everything's engaged with those wheels. Looks good. Lastly, the escape wheel. And this last bridge will come around here and miss all this in here so we can get our mainspring in for the alarm. How did that go in there? Did that sit like that? I think it did. Pretty compact. Pretty compact design, all that. It's, of course, we're going to double check our pivots. I'm going to take a loop to this. See if those pivots are coming through the jewels. They are. And a quick test is to nudge the mainspring, and you can see the train moving nicely. I'm just giving that just a nudge, and it's moving nicely. We're not going to move it too far until we get it lubricated. Speaking of lubrication, I think it's time for a drink. Sure. Late enough in the day. Something to counteract the effects of caffeine. Okay. I'm just running these in loosely. Now we can snug these up. Okay, now let's give that winding stem just a turn. Look at that. Look how nicely those wheels are turning. Just one little click and they spin freely. So, before we forget, now's a good time to lubricate those jewels. We have 90-10. There's 3 on the top and only 1, 2 on the bottom. because the pinion, second-hand pinion, came through the middle. Okay, let's see, where's this one going to go? Right here. And our second one is going to be right over there. There we go. That's done. Now the main train is lubricated. We can just a little bit of let's get it in the shot. Here I am tinkering. Let's get it in the shot. Just the slightest click. One click sends that in motion. That's pretty nice. It's running good. I'm liking that. Now I'm not going to put the pallet fork in yet, because I got to rob it out of the other movement. But I am going to get our, what do we call this? The alarm mainspring. Can we call it that? We can. We're going to get the alarm mainspring installed and its bridge. So, back to the D5. D5's going on that arbor. And if I remember correctly, I'm going to put a little on this because there's a gear that rides on that. There's two gears on this arbor. Very, very unique system. I haven't studied this alarm to see how everything works. So here we have, let's see, here we have a wheel, and you can see that wear mark. See that shiny wear mark on the outside? That is corresponding with that raised portion right there. That's got to go in first, and if you notice, it's got a square hole through the middle. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work or what happens here, but as far as I'm concerned, it don't matter. I know how it goes together. And on the main spring barrel, we have, let's focus on that. We have a square that's going to engage that broach on that wheel, and then on the top part, the ratchet wheel gets screwed into that. So we have to drop that barrel in there, make sure it goes through the arbor as well as that gear. So, interesting stuff. We're just going to tinker with it until it falls in place. And I'm going to put a bit of D5 on that as well. And that's going to go in like, let's get in the shot, people. That's going to go in like so. And I'm going to turn that. Now, how do I know that's engaged? I don't. Maybe we should do this. Let's take that gear out. Here's that gear mounted up. You can see how it's engaged. Then we can drop the whole assembly in. The oil, the D5, will help hold that in place. And when I move that, I can feel some resistance. And if I move this winding stem, you can see it moving back and forth. So that tells me everything is wound, lined up, working the way it should. Let's hope so. A very unique system here. Now we have this little guy. I'm not sure where that's going. Yeah, we're learning as we go. That's going to sit there. Okay. I believe that star wheel is going to go there, because you can see it's got a gear that corresponds to that. That's going to drop in here like that. Then we have the hammer assembly. I guess you would call that a hammer assembly. That is jeweled as well. Let me get a better pick on that. That's going to sit in like so. Okay, it's in the shot, looks like. And then the bridge. Let's do some D5 again. We'll do a smear of D5 right there. So we have the hub, arbor coming through here, and these two are going to be jeweled. Doesn't look too hard to line up. Fairly big jeweled pieces here. Of course, the hammer assembly is tilted off to the side because it's heavy. I call that a hammer because I've heard other people call it a hammer. Then the anvil would be on the case back. Of course, it's being a mule. What's not lining up? There it is. It's snapped right in. I like it. Snapped in. You can feel that little schnick as it goes in, like shifting a motorcycle. Just schnicks into gear. Okay. We're going to run that in lightly. Okay. You know, for first time doing an alarm, I think I'm doing okay. Interesting movement. Okay, they're not tight. I didn't tighten those. I'm just going to check, make sure everything has a nice feel to it. Give it a snug. Turn it over and have a look. Make sure there's no gaps between the bridge and the main plate. So I'm pretty happy that everything's lined up, looking good. I'm going to go ahead and tighten those two bridge screws. It's in the dark there, shadow. Okay, now next thing, how far? Oh, we're 15 minutes in. That's not bad. We have, let's put the ratchet wheel on and the click spring. And we'll stop that for a while. Come on, get off of there. Alright, are we in the shot? We are. Just like our last main ratchet wheel. It's going to go underneath, and I want to hold that in. It's probably going to come out of the shot. I'm going to just try to get that tail snapped in under there. Of course, it's being a mule because it's recessed fairly deep in there. Come on. And out it comes. And again. Okay, let's stop this for now and we'll continue because we're getting into 20 minutes.